What is up? Welcome back to another live stream. We are back here at the studio. I have a slightly different setup here, trying out new things, but I'm excited to be back here Tuesday, 8 p.m. Live stream still going strong. Um, Today, I'm going to be talking about my YouTube strategy. Um, and yeah, I just wanted to take this video to pretty much talk about what I'm trying to do here with my channel with these videos. And I do have a strategy, and I did kind of lay out a few things. So I wanted to share what I'm trying to do here with this channel, with this video. So I hope you guys will get something out of it. Before I begin this presentation, just want to do a couple housekeeping things, of course. I'm doing live streams every Tuesday at 8 p.m. And I'm posting the topics that I'm going to be talking about, typically the Sunday before the Tuesdays that I go live. So I'm going live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. and I try to announce the topic that I'm going to be talking about the Sunday before. So if you want to know what I'll be talking about next week, I typically will be posting that on Sunday. And the way you can find that out is by checking out my website. The URL is down below, asrequired.com. So just keep an eye out there. But also, if you are subscribed to the channel, you'll also get notified of when those live streams go up. So yeah, so just as saying the sound is a little low, but I hear you. Good. Okay. I will try doing a couple tweaks on that. Let's just see right here. Okay. Let's just see if a couple of these tweaks will work. Let me just. Okay, maybe this will be a little bit better with the audio. But yeah, okay. So I think this might be a little bit better. How is that, Jess, if you hear me? Couple other housekeeping things. I do have a Patreon, so if you do get a little bit of value out of these videos, you could check out my Patreon link down below. This patreon.com/James Cabrera. So please check that out if you get any value out of this video and you'd like to become a patron of the channel. I only have one tier, and that is at $5 a month. So if you like these videos, you want me to keep doing them, please consider becoming a patron. And if you are a patron and you want me to talk about a specific topic, I will definitely try doing a topic on something that you might be interested in hearing about from me. So I'll definitely be taking some topics from patrons. Some of the videos that I've done in the past have been recommendations from some of my patrons. So the last session I did on mobile design was actually requested by Robin, who's one of my patrons. So let's start getting into what I'll be talking about in this session, which is my YouTube strategy and can I be successful? So before I jump into this, well, I just want to say that this video is just going to be a fun little exercise. So obviously, if you look at my YouTube channel right now, I don't really have that many subscribers, and there's not that many views on my videos, but I wanted this video laying out my strategy for this channel to be just a fun little exercise in terms of, will I be able to look back on this if my channel does become successful and say that, hey, this is a strategy that actually worked. And, maybe if it doesn't, nobody will see it anyway. So I just think doing this video now, especially when I don't have any subscribers at the moment, or not that many subscribers at the moment, it would be really fun just to see if this strategy actually works out. So if this channel does become successful, people will be able to go back and watch this video and be like, okay, this is a strategy that actually worked. So I'm just considering this as a fun little exercise, just to start out. So to give a little bit of background on myself, my name is James Cabrera. I am the founder of As Required, which is this design studio. So everything that I make out of this studio comes out of this company name, which is called As Required. I'm also currently the head of design of a company called The Block. So The Block is a cryptocurrency research and news site. So I am currently the head of design there, doing all the visual graphics for that website and also some front end coding. Before that, I was the design director at Gimlet Media right before they were acquired by Spotify. So I was doing all the visuals there for all the podcast cover artwork and things like that. And even before that, I was a senior product designer at Refinery 29. So worked with the graphic designers there, and I also was the lead product designer on some of the apps that they did. Um, so that's where I was before Gimlet. And even before all of this, I went to Stony Brook University and I graduated with a degree in math and physics. So this is also part of the reason why I'm doing these videos, is because I'm hoping to pay it forward. I'm completely self-taught in design, and I did it using resources on the internet that were available for free. So I'm kind of paying it forward, and I'm also doing material for the internet for, people who are potentially in my position where I was 10 years ago, looking to find stuff online for free to learn anything and everything. So I'm hoping that, my videos will help someone in the future to create something awesome, or, you know, build something that's pretty cool using some of the tips and tricks that I've been posting in these videos online on my YouTube channel. So this is going to be the agenda that I'm going through today on this particular topic, which is my YouTube strategy. So I'm going to first talk about my mission and goals with this YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about creation of these videos and the boundaries that I've set for that. Third, I'll go into the content, what kind of content I'm generating and how I'm deciding that. And then I'll go into programming, which is, how do I choose the topics? What's the cadence that I release things, and a little bit more thought and strategy in terms of that, the overall holistic vision of the channel. Fifth, I'll go into promotion. So how do I, see people finding my videos, or how do I bring people to these videos? How do I promote it? How do I market it? And then lastly, I'll talk about some milestones that I'm setting for myself for this channel to see if my strategy is working or if I need to pivot. So first thing I'll be talking about is my mission and my goals with this channel. First off, I always say no matter what project you start or product you start, you should always have a mission. I even say that for people individually, you should have your own mission. So as far as this project, my YouTube channel, what is my mission for it? And the first thing is to educate others by sharing knowledge I have accrued. So I mentioned this when I talked about where I came from, and the fact that I was self-taught, that I learned a lot of stuff through free resources on the internet, and I also want to pay it forward. So I just want to use this channel to educate others, and primarily with knowledge that I know and things that I might consider myself an expert in. I kind of want to share that knowledge and educate other people with that knowledge as well. I guess the hope is that, the more educated people are, the more information and tools that are out there for people to learn. I think it's just going to be an overall improvement for society as a whole, to have a more educated base. So I just like educating. I think that's my overall mission with As Required as well, is to kind of proliferate education. So my main mission is to just get material out there that people could potentially use for things that they're trying out or things that they want to learn, and just to have this YouTube channel be another avenue to acquire that information and that education. So I'm just passing it on, sharing my knowledge, stuff that I've learned throughout the years, and passing that on to anybody else who comes across this YouTube channel. And the next thing that I'm trying to do, which is the other part of the mission of this whole thing, is that I'm trying to test out different methods and approaches to teaching things. So doing videos is just one way of teaching people. So I'm kind of navigating that and experimenting with that. So what is the best way to transfer knowledge through videos? So you're going to notice this as I start releasing more videos. I'm going to try experimenting with different formats, different orders of things. It might not be that obvious to people who are watching these videos, but I'm going to be doing some different testing and things like that. What is the best way to teach people through videos? So I'm going to be constantly experimenting stuff, and maybe for future projects that are outside of these YouTube videos, I'll be implementing some of the learnings that I find here doing these YouTube videos. So really seeing, what is the best way to, dump information onto somebody in a way that they will be able to understand it and receive it in the best way. So I'm going to be testing a lot of that stuff out and hopefully using it for a lot of future projects. So what are some of the goals that I have for this channel? Of course, anybody on YouTube, one of their biggest goals with their YouTube channels is to become like Casey Neistat, is to be able to make a living just off of YouTube alone. Of course, with a YouTube channel, that is kind of a very pie in the sky goal as well. Like, I would say it would be amazing if these videos blew up or my channel blew up in a way that I'd be able to do this full time and just, create educational content, and do that and be able to make a living off of it. So of course that is one pie in the sky goal, that if this channel is successful, it would be awesome if I would be able to make that happen. Another goal of mine is, of course, I mentioned earlier, I have a Patreon. So if these videos are able to get me a bunch of patrons that would be able to fund this and, allow me to dedicate more time to doing this, that would be a great goal. So if I get a bunch of patrons, that would be a good metric of success to say that, this strategy is successful. But more importantly, the more philosophical stuff, and I kind of hinted towards this when I was introducing myself and why I'm doing these videos, is I'm hoping that, one of my videos would potentially inspire someone out there, a future creator, to make something awesome or make something great for society. So I'm really hoping that, these videos could potentially be that launch pad, or that little spark of inspiration, or that little nudge to get somebody to learn how to do something, which could eventually be their passion and something that they could do something big with. I know a lot of my videos are teaching fundamental steps, but you never know who that video is going to inspire to do something with that, and make it much bigger than it could have imagined. So that's one of my goals. I'm just hoping that any one of my videos could potentially inspire somebody in the next generation of creators to make something really awesome for society. And then my last goal, and probably the most important goal, is to make something that brings me joy. So I want to be able to look back at this, creating these videos and these experiences, as like something I could look back and smile at and say that, I did something good and I was really proud of the stuff that I created. So that is just like the absolute baseline goal. If I don't accomplish anything, like I hope to at least accomplish this, is to create a bunch of stuff that I'm really happy with, that I could look back and say, that was really awesome. These videos are great. This is a good library of stuff that I've created. Even if I don't satisfy any other of those goals, I'd be really happy if I'm just happy with all this content that I have just created on this channel. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about, the boundaries I've set for myself in terms of creation. So how much am I willing to input into this? How much am I willing to commit as far as the energy that I'm putting into this? So I'm going to talk about two different levels of input, and they're kind of very obvious when I talk about them. And the first one is money. So in terms of how much capital that I'm going to be investing into this YouTube channel, I'm hoping it's going to be none. So all the equipment and all of the stuff that I'm using for this YouTube channel is stuff that I've accumulated for other projects. So I've already been doing video content, video stuff. So that's why I have all these cameras. I was experimenting with live streaming for my full-time job at the block. So that's why I have some of this live streaming equipment. So I'm not really looking to put any more money into live streaming. So that'll also kind of dictate, the content I create and the things that I do for this channel. I'm hoping not to do videos or talk about topics that involve me like making any extravagant purchases to input into this channel. So I'm not looking to put any more money into this. Now, when it comes to time, of course, I still have my full-time job that's taking up my 9 to 6. So I really only have weekends and nights to commit to working to this. So that's also going to dictate what I do, especially in the early parts of this channel, is what can I accomplish on the weekends and what can I accomplish in the evenings. It's also part of the reason why, these live streams are at 8 p.m. So these are the boundaries that I'm setting myself up with as far as what I'm putting up on this channel. It's what can I create by not putting any more money into it, and also utilizing those hours outside of my full-time job to put into it. So this is going to dictate a lot of the strategy that I'm going to be talking about in terms of the stuff that I'm creating. Now, when it comes to the actual content that I'm making for this channel, this is going to be the way that I'm approaching it. And I'm really trying to figure out a way with my content to create something that's sustainable. What do I mean by that? So I'm really going to be crafting my content around super easy topics for me. And what I mean by that is these are topics that I don't have to do any additional research into. And these are topics that I just kind of innately know from my experience, that if, say for example, I was at a party and somebody asked me about a specific topic, like these are topics that I literally could just riff off of off the top of my head. So this is really sustainable for me because I don't have to put in extra time to research the stuff, because it's just stuff that I know. And maybe if I do create more time for myself in the future, I'll be able to do topics that might require a little bit more research. But for now, for the first few videos, these are all videos that I kind of innately know that I could just basically riff off the top of my head, and it won't require any extra work or any extra time or effort from me to talk about them or teach them. The other part of the content I'm creating, so you'll notice that every single one of the videos that I am putting up on this channel are live streams. And part of that reason goes into the conserving my time sort of thing. So there's a quote, it's one of my favorite quotes from Mark Twain, and it's, I would have written you a shorter letter, but I didn't have enough time. So when it's balancing either doing live streams or doing something that's highly produced, I'm doing live streams primarily because it's much easier and it takes less time, because I don't have to plan out and record a bunch of clips and then go back and then edit them. And then knowing myself and editing, I tend to get into like a perfection hole of like always editing and editing and editing. And that ends up taking a lot more time, way more time than it would to just do a live stream. So a live stream, doing these live streams, all it really takes is hitting the record button on the camera and just talking. And then once it's done, it's done. I don't have to continuously edit it. So that's the main reason why I'm doing live streams, is because, you know, when it comes to that input factor, that boundary that I'm setting with my time, doing live streams takes less time than, you know, recording and planning out highly edited videos on these topics. And then the last part about the content, in terms of my strategy, is that I'm trying to make these live streams audience agnostic. So, you know, while they are live streams and live streams highly depend on an audience, I'm constructing the content of my talks in a way that I could just, you know, give it without, you know, really, having an audience is not necessary to do these talks. I could just record them without any questions, without any interaction with the audience, and it'll be done. But the good part is, if there is an audience, it will make the videos much better. So especially in the beginning, when you're just starting out, already assuming that, you know, for the first few videos, you probably won't have an audience at all. How do you still have content that you could just do and it doesn't rely on having an audience? So I could still do these videos. The first few videos I could have easily done without anybody watching at all. So I've kind of crafted the content in a way that I could just do these talks and it does not rely on having an audience watching at all. But the live streams definitely would improve if there was an audience there for it. So these are the core things that I'm doing with my content. Easy topics, they're all live streams, and all of these topics are audience agnostic, especially in the beginning, because probably will not have an audience for the first few videos. Now going into more of the juicy stuff, and this is where more of the strategy and my thinking behind my channel is going to come in, and that's with the programming. So when I talk about programming, I'm talking about, you know, when I'm publishing videos, what, you know, how I'm choosing the topics, and, you know, what I'm going to be talking about in order to grow the channel. So I touched on this a little bit before, but, you know, in the content that I'm creating, I said that they're going to be easy topics for me that I could just, you know, talk about off the top of my head. But when I'm choosing the topics, what I'm really choosing are fundamental topics. So they're really like entry points into topics. And, you know, I used to do talks for design at design conferences, and they used to be, very high level topics for designers who are entrenched in the industry. But that ends up being really niche. So the more higher level design topics you go into, the smaller the audience is for it. So I'm really trying to stick to fundamental topics. So this kind of really guarantees a much larger audience for it. So that's why I'm doing videos like, how to publish a podcast and, really beginner type of stuff, beginner tips to mobile design. Just because when you're starting off a channel, you want to be able to reach a bigger audience. So I'm seeing, as my channel grows, or as I get more design focused followers, that's when I'll start kind of talking about topics on a higher level. But at least for the first few videos, I want to keep it kind of to the fundamentals, to the basics, because that will guarantee the kind of the largest possible audience that could be captured by that content. So I'm really trying to stick to fundamental topics, at least for the beginning videos, just to keep the potential of the audience at the maximum. Because as I said, as you get into higher levels, the smaller and smaller the audience will be for that content. If I were talking about higher level design concepts, not that many people would understand it. So I'm also doing all these videos Tuesdays at 8 p.m. So I don't know if there's any sort of data around when's the most possible time that people, or what's the biggest potential time that people are watching videos on YouTube. The reason why I chose Tuesdays at 8 p.m. is more for me, and it's not really for getting an audience. So it's at Tuesdays because it at least gives me the weekend to prep and prepare slides and the content. So I have the weekend to do that right before the Tuesday. And I do it at 8 p.m. because, I'm typically working up until 6 to 7 p.m. So I at least give myself 2 hours or so to set up the live stream for an 8 p.m. Time. So the Tuesdays at 8 p.m. So, and they also say that when you are starting a YouTube channel, the most important thing above everything else is to always publish your videos at a regular occurring day and time every single week or daily or monthly, just because you'll be giving your audience some sort of predictability. So they'll know that it's Tuesday at 8 p.m. I know without even seeing any prompts on the screen, you'll know that that's the time that James normally puts up a video. So the first part of it is it's like YouTube 101 to always be publishing at a regular day and a regular time. Just to get some predictability for people who could potentially be watching you, just so that they know that it's Tuesday or it's whatever day a video should be coming out from so-and-so. But yeah, it's also more for me because this is the optimal time that I could put these videos out. That gives me enough time to prep and to craft the content. The next part of my programming is I'm focusing in the early goings on quantity, and that's because I'm trying to build a library of videos for my channel. So if you did watch my first few videos, you'll know that the first 7 videos that I put up on this channel were daily. So I was putting out 1 video a day. And that's all because I was just trying to focus on the quantity of videos, because the logic that goes behind this is basically if I were to release a really, really great piece of content and it was like my first video, if people were to explore more on my channel and they only saw that 1 video, then it kind of sucks because you wasted a lot of effort in a really, really good piece of content, and you're missing that opportunity for someone to go to your page and see more videos to see if it's something that they would be interested in subscribing to. So my main focus when I first started the channel was to, let's get as many videos onto my channel as possible. Not focus so much on the quality first, but let's just get a bunch of videos on there. That way, when I do have a video or a topic that I really feel strongly about, that's going to be a really great topic that I'm going to hit out of the park. When people find that video, they'll be able to go to my channel and see a nice big library of other videos there. So especially in the early going, starting from nothing, starting from scratch, it's good to just create a whole bunch of content, build that library. That way, when you do have that really good piece of content, when people investigate further, go to the channel, there's going to be a bunch more videos out there for them to see after they've hit that one good piece of content. So I'm really focusing on quantity, early goings. I'm considering doing another week of daily live streams just to continue building the library. I'm not satisfied yet in the first month how many videos that I have in my channel. I want to build a nice foundation of videos before I start focusing on some of the topics that I've been thinking a lot about that I think would be really, really good videos. So that's all I'm doing right now is I'm trying to build that library, get a good quantity of videos into my channel. And the last thing in terms of programming is I'm thinking about archetypes of content, and this might not be as obvious to you, to the viewers out there, what types of videos that I'm putting out there, but I'm going to go into it. I'm going to outline some of the archetypes of content that I'm thinking about, and they kind of fall into these categories. So right now I'm only thinking about 2 different archetypes of content, but I'm going to go into some of the future archetypes of content that I'm thinking about. But the first archetype that I'm doing are these basic explainers. So that's what this video is, and what I think the majority of the other videos that I've done in the past are. They're really just basic explainers. It's, all right, here is a thing, how do you do it? And I'm going to explain it. And that's the majority of the videos that I've been doing. They're really step-by-step processes. Do you want to learn how to do this? These are the steps on how you do it. That's the first type of archetype that I've been focusing on. And the second archetype of content that I'm trying to fit in there in small little ways is this idea of watch me do things. So the video on colors, and then also on fonts, and then also site critiques. Those are all really like watch me do something videos. And these are videos that kind of do better in terms of live streaming, because if you think about Twitch, you think about people playing video games, a lot of the videos that do well on live streaming is watching people do things. So I'm trying to find ways to sneak these types of videos into the basic explainer type of videos. So I think the last few videos have been basic explainers, but you'll see in some future videos, I'm going to try doing some videos that are more like watch me do things. Whether it's reviewing apps, reviewing sites, or watching me pick colors, watch me do a design. I might do some live graphic design stuff, but I'm going to really try doing a nice healthy mixture of basic explainers and watch me do things. Once I start building a little bit of an audience, I am thinking about 2 additional archetypes of content, and that's the first type of archetype that I'm thinking about once I do have more subscribers or more viewers is doing more hypothetical thesis type of videos. So in my experience in the design world, if I kind of see a new approach or have a hypothesis about something that might work better than the norm, I would love to create videos explaining that and explaining my reasoning and my logic behind those approaches. But I think that'll come later once I do get more of an audience for that type of stuff. I feel like if I start doing those videos now, a lot of people who are just, kind of searching YouTube for content and stumbling upon it will just be confused by that type of stuff. So I'm definitely thinking about it. These are the types of talks that I do, or I pitch to design conferences. But I'd like to start doing those types of talks on my YouTube channel, but I'm also going to wait to do them until I have more of an audience. And then the last archetype of content that I'd like to do more of, but that will definitely heavily rely on whether or not I have an audience for it, is audience interactive videos. So I want these to be more of like, I'd love to do a portfolio, like a live portfolio review with people live on these live streams, but it really relies on having an audience that's actually going to be there to watch you live or to tune in. I'd love to do other stuff, with people just asking question and answer type of things. I would love to do videos that are like, have a coffee chat with me, type of things. But like I said, audience interactive videos, those things really rely on actually having an audience to show up. They're not the audience agnostic type of stuff. that I'm going to be relying on, especially in the beginning, to get this channel up and running. So those are all the content archetypes that I'm thinking about. Hopefully I'll be able to do the hypothetical thesis type of videos and the audience interactive ones soon, if I do get more subscribers. The fifth thing that I'm going to talk about is promotion. How am I getting these videos out there? How am I, making people aware that these videos exist? How am I putting it out there? And I'm going to be completely honest with all of you. Promotion, at least in the early going, has been an afterthought for me. So I'm definitely just focusing more on the content first. I'm hoping that, with what I've outlined earlier in terms of my content strategy, that's going to just organically be able to bring people to my videos. And I'm going to touch on that in a later point here. But when I'm thinking about the content first, I'm thinking about shareable topics. And I'm not talking about shareable in terms of like viral. I'm not trying to make viral videos. But when I'm thinking about the topics for the videos that I'm creating, I'm hoping that they could potentially be used as tools in the workplace. So what I'm talking about here is, when I've worked for past companies, some of the videos that I've created, I've actually thought to myself, it would have been great if a video like this existed that I could just send to somebody and say like, hey, if I want you to go and find a designer for this project that we have. Here's a video that explains how you should do it. I'm trying to craft content that works in that sort of way. If it comes to like the publishing podcast, for example, instead of if I were to teach somebody how to publish a podcast, I'd be able to just send them this video instead of having to go back and explain it from scratch every single time. So when it comes to thinking about the content I'm creating, I'm just really hoping that they are shareable topics. There are these videos that, if you're in the workplace as a designer, instead of having to ask, or, maybe you're a manager and you want to assign a task to a designer, a way to explain that task would be to share the videos that I've created to help them do that task. So that's what I'm thinking about in terms of shareable topics. What are types of videos that people could share and use as a tool in the workplace instead of always having to explain things from scratch? And then also in terms of promotion, I'm thinking of these videos in a very algorithm-friendly way. So what am I talking about when I talk about algorithm-friendly? So the topics that I've chosen for my videos, I've done so in a way that I've already kind of looked across YouTube and looked across similar videos, and I know that certain things are performing well. So I'll give you an example. I did a video on design pricing just because I saw that a lot of people have been searching and viewing videos in terms of pricing design work. How do you price your own design work? And also, what goes into the price of design work. And also for designers, I've noticed that a big thing that people are searching for is, how could they, actually get the amount of money they think they deserve for their project. So that kind of crafted, why I did a topic on design pricing. And then also the reason why I did a topic on newsletters is because I'm noticing a lot of people are starting newsletters, and newsletters are a big thing, especially with companies with a lot of investment money going into them. So that's kind of why I did that video as well. So I'm really trying to, and then I'm also kind of constructing videos that are answering questions and thinking of my own experience of stuff that I've searched for either in Google or on YouTube on how to do this or how to do that. So I'm trying to create videos that answer questions that potentially, people will be able to find, and also thinking about keywords of things that people will be searching into Google and crafting my videos around that way, hopefully these videos, hopefully if you've discovered me for the first time, it may have been just through doing a search through YouTube and stumbling across one of my videos. So with that library of videos, I'm just trying to make, kind of a big target for things that people would potentially be searching for, and hopefully the algorithm of YouTube would reward that if I'm like really creating content that people are searching for or asking as questions in their searches. And the last thing, the obvious thing, is basic social media. So this has really been the afterthought type of thing. I've been posting my videos onto LinkedIn and also onto Twitter, but I'm posting them kind of a month after I've actually done the live sessions. Part of the reason I'm doing that is because I'd like to kind of give people context for what they're going to see in the video, and it's kind of difficult to do that when I'm like announcing a live stream before the video is actually live. So I'm kind of seeing how these videos play out and then constructing the social media posts afterwards to kind of tease people into what I actually talk about in the talks. And when they click on the link, there's actually something to watch, and it's not just an empty screen that they have to wait 2 days for in order to watch. So I'm just kind of doing the social media post after the fact, after the live streams are live, and just hinting towards stuff that I actually talk about in the live streams. So that's kind of how I'm approaching the promotion aspect of it. I'm really leaning into, inherently, if the content is good, people will come, but I'm also not, I'm not kind of putting all my eggs in the basket in terms of just focusing on content. But I'm just hoping that, if the content is just good, then people will find it. Now, talking about milestones. So it's been about 30 days since maybe it's like 1 week, 30 days plus 1 week since I did my first video on this channel. So it'd be a good time to kind of take a look at some of my progress and my milestones. So milestones are just moments to check in and also opportunities to pivot. So you should always, with any of these types of strategies or things like that, set some days for yourself, saying these are days that I'm going to check in and see how I'm doing. And the way I'm kind of handling this, so I have a recommendation for a book, and it's called The Dip by Seth Godin. And this is definitely in the back of my mind when I'm thinking about measuring myself and looking at this channel to see if it's successful or not. I'm always thinking about this thing called The Dip. So if you're not familiar with this book from Seth Godin, it basically talks about if you're kind of taking on any sort of new project, or you're doing any sort of grueling task, there's always going to be this thing called the dip. And it's going to be this moment where you just feel like it's a slog and it's tough work and you're not getting any reward out of it. And this is a moment where, a lot of people will end up quitting, but it's also one of those moments that, if it is something that you truly believe in, you just need to work through the dip, and potentially, like, after that dip, you'll see the big reward. So this is definitely in the back of my mind, especially when it comes to this YouTube channel, because I know, especially in the early goings, there's going to be nobody watching, not that many views, and it's going to feel like I'm putting in so much work and not really getting anything out of it. But I'm hoping that, if I just keep doing it, keep going through the motions, keep coming up with good content, then hopefully that reward will be seen afterwards. But definitely think about the dip, and especially thinking about it when I'm thinking about my moments to check in with myself and looking at my milestones. So 30, 60, 90 is basically this idea that if you're ever starting a new project, or maybe you're just starting a new role and you want to measure your own performance or like see how you're doing, it's always good to set kind of these 30-day, 60-day, and 90-day check-ins. So the 1 month, 2 month, 3 month check-ins, or even kind of setting goals for yourself for that 30, 60, 90 point, just to measure yourself based on how you kind of thought you would do and then how you actually did after that point. So I'm going to be checking in with this channel and myself after 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days, just to see if things are going in a positive way, and if I need to change anything drastically, these would be good points to do it. So when you're setting your own milestones, it's always good to set a 30, 60, 90. And in this kind of 30-day check-in with myself, this video is about 30 days from when I first started the channel. The first thing that I'm looking at is, have I built a process? So have I been able to kind of nail the production of these videos down to a science that it's not really interfering with, I don't have to put any more capital into this, and I don't have to put any more time into this? Have I built a process that makes these videos easy? And the answer is yes. I've kind of nailed these videos down pretty well. Some of the videos that I've created, I've been able to set up within, I've been able to craft the content within a day, and I've also been able to just physically get all the live stream equipment up within like a half hour. So I've really made a lot of improvements in the process of publishing these videos, which has been great. Very happy about that. So after 30 days, this is a thumbs up on have I built a process? Yes. Um, the next thing that I'm also checking in with myself on in terms of these videos is, am I still learning? So in doing these live streams, I think in doing anything, you should always be constantly learning. And the moment you stop learning, or you feel like, you're not improving or doing anything better, and you're just kind of going through the motions of like, okay, I just need to do this, that might be a moment where you just have to reevaluate what you're doing, and maybe you need to make some changes. So in terms of these live streams, am I still learning stuff? I would say yes. That's another thumbs up to that. I think ever since I started from the first live stream up until now, I've gotten way more comfortable in front of the camera, talking in front of the camera, and constructing these decks, and kind of figuring out how I want to organize my content. Definitely still learning, and there's definitely a lot of stuff that I could learn even after this video. So I'm noticing a lot of stuff with myself when I watch the videos, play the videos back again, in terms of, I want to look at the camera a lot more, like directly at the camera a lot more. And I also want to do a better job at like not saying like as much. So there's a lot of improvement that could still be had in, the next 60 days, the next 90 days. I don't know if I've been looking at the camera much better in this particular live stream, but I hope to get better at that stuff. So am I still learning? Definitely still learning. I've gotten better at a lot of stuff, and there's still a lot more to be learned, a lot more to get better at. So that's a thumbs up for that. So I think I'm doing very well on that front. Now, when it comes to subscribers and views, I think, I had very low expectations for that. I think I'm going to get into it with the 30-day check-in stats, but I think I have like 14 subscribers right now, and I counted up all the views of all my videos. It's somewhere around 233. And I really had zero expectations for that, especially starting a YouTube channel from scratch. So I think any number is an improvement over zero. So I kind of went through this as I was going through that, but yes, I've built up a decent process. Yes, I'm still learning, and there's still a lot more to be learned. And I have 14 subscribers, and it's about 218 views and 33 watch hours. I think these things being live streams is super helpful too in getting those watch hours up. But yeah, like I said, I had very low expectations just starting a channel from scratch. So I think any number is great, but I'm hoping to see these numbers kind of get better, as I build that library of content, and as I touch a lot more of a wide variety of content. I'm hoping that these numbers will be able to be improved for the 60-day check-in and for the 90-day check-in. So I'm going to be looking at these four things for the 60 and the 90-day check-in, and if any one of these things is not the way, is not going the way that I'd like, these would be moments for me to pivot this strategy, kind of do some things drastically different or make some changes to it. So that's the milestones that I've kind of set for myself, and this is kind of the status of how I'm doing right now. And that wraps it up for all the content that I'm looking to cover in this video. So if you found any of that helpful, maybe you're trying to start your own channel or construct your own strategy. If you've got any value out of this, please like this video, and I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. Maybe you'll be interested in some of the future topics that I'll be covering. I would definitely be doing a follow-up video to this to see how I'm doing, and if anything was working or if anything changed. And like I said, if this channel does end up becoming successful, it would be awesome to look back at this video to say that, hey, some of this stuff actually worked, that you might want to consider implementing onto your own channel if you're trying to start your own YouTube. But would definitely appreciate it if you liked and subscribed the video if you got anything out of it. And it looks like I got a couple people watching. I would be happy to take any questions in terms of, what I'm trying out with this channel. Is there something that I didn't mention that you noticed that I'm doing um, with this channel that you'd want me to elaborate on? Um, I'd be happy to take any questions right now on any of that stuff. But when it comes to this channel, I think the key things for me is that I'm having a lot of fun doing these videos, and I don't care whether or not people are watching. And like I said, when I was talking about my goals, as long as I'm happy creating the content, I'm going to keep doing it, and it doesn't matter if nobody's watching it. I think that is the secret sauce to any project, especially any side project that you're doing, is that are you doing it just naturally, and are you happy doing it? And do you care whether or not people are watching? And I think the magic sauce for if something is going to be successful is if you are very happy creating something, and it doesn't matter whether or not people are watching. It doesn't matter whether or not you have likes. If you're able to find that thing for yourself, you should just keep doing it. And I think when I talked about my goals and I talk about my milestones, I think definitely with these live streams, I'm really happy doing them, and these are things that I don't even care whether or not I get paid to do it. I'm just doing all this content for free. So I think as long as that exists, I'm going to keep doing these videos every Tuesday at 8 p.m. So that's pretty much all I have for this video. Like I mentioned, if you got any value out of it, I'd love for you to consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. Definitely trying a couple different setups. So this is a slightly different angle. I've actually brought in some lights here for this view. And I actually had like a second view that I never used here, but like I said, I'm constantly adapting. Whoa, that is like super in. I didn't get to utilize that view. But this was just another video. Hopefully I will be back again with another topic that you might be interested in for next week, but remember to tune in 8 p.m. next Tuesday. Topic will be up on my website asrequired.com. Check out for that at some point between Sunday. The past couple Sundays it's been late at night, but if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, you'll see what topic I'll be talking about next week. But that wraps it up for me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.